Good evening, everybody. It is 6 o'clock on Thursday, April 26th. Welcome to our City Council meeting. I am Joe Shy. I'm filling in for Mayor Smith. He is out this week. Roll call.
Okay. Judy Costello.
Here.
Jason Daly.
Here.
Joe Shy.
Here.
Mike Parsons.
Here.
Leona Sander Hunter. She did ask to be excused.
Excellent.
And Mayor Smith, we already announced this.
So what's up? All right. We have a quorum. Pledge of Allegiance. Mike, will you lead us in Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There were only two items on the mayor's report. The first is an update on school property, just that they do have all of their permits and they are able to start getting that property set up at their convenience. Anything else, Jill, that we should mention about that?
Nope.
It's all on their, the ball's in their court, right? Okay. The second item, council members have this flyer already. There's some extras back here. As a reminder, the mayor has talked about this before. There's a broadband technology meeting happening up at the Lewis County Courthouse on May 4th, which is a Friday morning. USDA will be there to talk about it, and the public is welcome to attend. And that is it for the mayor's report. Council reports. Any council reports?
Well, we have May Day coming up here, and we have from the Little Crane Cafe, we're putting on we have cotton candy machine, we have popcorn, we have face painting, we're giving away bikes for a bike drawing for 15 and under, and for Cinco de May Day, so we're doing tacos and hot dogs. That starts right after the parade. It starts at 11, so we invite everybody to come. Tacos and hot dogs are free with donations only, so welcome everybody. Have some fun. And we have a band also from noon right after the parade until 4 o'clock too, so it's going to be a good time, hopefully. Lots of concessions, vendors, things like that. So.
Great.
I have
Cakewalk.
a cakewalk. Oh yeah,
Cakewalk,
definitely
no.
cakewalk. I think there's 20 plus cakes, give or take, 25 cakes. So it'll be a nice cakewalk. I need to report for Leona. She contacted the lady that was here at the last meeting on the grant for the chipper. She had either had a face-to-face meeting or phone call, and we do not qualify. Our community, the average yearly base income is $46,000 a year, and so we were out of that range. I think it goes back to that census again. So anyway, we're back to square one. I brought in a DR chipper or DR magazine for anybody to look at. There's chippers in there, just because. And so that was Leona's report. Judy's report. Why have we stopped talking about replacement of Mr. Townsend? That hasn't been on or the conversation hasn't been, and I was wondering if we could do that at our next meeting, possibly continue that conversation. Why do we not use our planning department like we have done in the past, where if you want to build something or a new fence or whatever, it goes before the planning committee, and then the planning committee does all of the research, gets everything together, and then they come and they give a report to the council, and then council makes a decision on that type of thing. And so that's a question that I would like, possibly when the mayor is here, that we could get an answer on what the planning department is doing right now, because the 10 years I've been here, that was their kind of like their lead job, was to look into that type of thing. And let's see, last but not least, on March the 8th, we as a council voted to send 2 courtesy letters out to 2 different properties. That was a unanimous vote, and I think we all know where the two properties were that we were sending those courtesy letters out to. However, the mayor reported that 3 letters went out. And as a council, I think that we should be aware of these code letters. I think Joe was pretty adamant that we didn't want to get back into a large number of them. We needed to watch our finances for the attorney fees and et cetera. So I worry, and the mayor isn't here tonight either, and I'd like to hear why the 3 letters went out rather than the 2 that we voted on or agreed on doing, so that we could kind of keep track of our finances for attorney fees and et cetera. So that's my report for tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No? All right, moving on. Agenda approval. There is one item to add that I know of. We have a representative from the park board here tonight, and he'd like to be added into the special reports. It's short. He has something else to do tonight, so I propose we add it as item number 1 in the special reports.
We already have an item number 1.
Let's switch them around.
Item number 0.
Point 5.
We've done 0 before under my recommendation.
So are you making a motion or?
Yeah, I would. Yes.
Okay. So
Motion.
a motion to
Approve
the
and
agenda.
add and approve
Add.
with park board as the first special report.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Parsons. Any other additions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved. Minutes approval.
Make a motion to approve city council meeting minutes for 4/12 of 2018.
We have
4/12 of 2018.
a motion to approve the minutes.
Well, you wrote the wrong. You got the one I wrote.
412 is right.
4/12 is right. 4/12 is right.
We have a motion to approve the minutes.
Approved.
Do we-
Joe just did.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Daly. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Voucher approval.
I'll make a motion that we approve vouchers for the first half of April for 15/7/18/73 and the end of April 2018 $38,539.60, totaling April 2018 $54,258.33.
We have a motion to approve the vouchers as written. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Parsons. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, special reports. Park Board.
Thank you for moving me up. My name's Ken Joslin. I'm on the City Park Board, and Kelly called me and gave me a couple things to talk about tonight. Warden Park will be open for the bathrooms will be open by the May Day parade. So sometime this week or next week. McMurphy Park is obviously probably just a tad bit wet right now. It's obviously from all the rain we had. So the gates are going to remain closed until that dries up. So walking only and stuff. Unfortunately, we haven't had a meeting for the month of April due to participation, unfortunately, schedules and stuff. So hopefully in May we will get enough people to have a quorum, and we'll start working hard on all of our agendas that we got, trying to get done and finished and stuff to get to you guys and stuff. That's about all I have to say. Anything else?
Council might like to know, because I don't think they've heard, that the 2 newly approved people for the park board both resigned before they came to the meeting. So,
I wouldn't say that.
well, they need to know that we're still looking for.
That's due to the lack
To-
of participation.
Yeah, that's the lack of participation. So we're still looking for 2 people for the park board and 1 for the planning committee, so. Update.
Yes.
I spoke to Polo today,
Yeah.
and he said he was gonna try to get down and paint the rest of the jail before May Day.
Okay.
So I just kinda wanna throw that out there, that he promised me he would get down and finish that.
I know he's been really busy with.
Yeah, he said he's working like Vancouver, Portland or somewhere.
Yeah, that was why he was in Portland going through rush hour traffic and stuff. So yeah,
And he had another grandbaby.
and he ended his grandparents.
I've had a lot of people, since this weather's so nice, that they wanted to drive down to the park.
Yeah.
We're wondering if they were wondering, especially today, if it could be open during the day and then closed at night. And I know how hard that is.
Yeah, it's just too wet. They'll sink. Eventually.
Well, they're not supposed to get off the road very far, you know.
Supposed to be. There's your key word right there. So anyway, that's about all I have.
Any other questions for the park board?
Questions or requests?
Do you normally have a date that you open the parks? Is there something in the paperwork that says
No.
on May the 1st, blah, blah, blah? No.
I think we've just done it based on weather. I
Okay.
think last year, I think we just based it on weather. I mean, it's supposed to start raining tomorrow, so I mean,
Yeah.
we'll go right back. Yes.
Okay, yeah, it's supposed to start raining tomorrow, but it's not supposed to last all week.
Correct.
However, so, on Cinco de Mayo, do you think you will open it?
No,
Okay.
Not McMurphy.
not McMurphy. The bathrooms at Warren Park are.
Yeah, I
it's-
know.
It's
No.
too wet. People are gonna sink and just like what he said, it's supposed to stay on the road,
Right, but they
But-
don't.
but they don't. So then
I
they're
understand.
gonna make a mud bath.
Mud mess, yeah.
So
I get that.
we don't need that.
All right.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Yeah, right. Thank you. We have good evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Second special report, Civil West Engineering. We have representatives here tonight to discuss our wastewater treatment facility plan design.
Thank you. Since we've been doing a PowerPoint presentation every time we come up, I figure we keep doing it, give you guys a show. My name is Matt Washington from Civil West Engineering. Also have Andrew Matsumoto from Civil West, who's been helping out with a lot of the design work. But we'll just go through a quick update. Our project goal is to design improvements to the current wastewater treatment plant that allow the city to meet permit requirements and provide capacity for future growth. Improvements need to balance efficiency with cost. So this is in line with the facility plan, the update that we did last year. So we plan on achieving these goals by identifying the systems and the processes that are inadequate, design processes to function effectively now and at a 2040 design year, and that's at the projected flow rates and loadings, and then using life cycle costs to identify the lowest cost options. Here's your existing facility. We have 2 sources of wastewater getting to the plant. It goes through a headwork structure here, which does a preliminary screening, and then goes into this first lagoon where there's one lonely aerator floating out there. It then flows into the second lagoon, which is a nice bright green today, because it's been nice and warm. It then flows through a measurement device, chlorine contact into the third lagoon, where it sits and warms up and before it gets discharged into the river. So the problems that we have with the plant now are that the headworks are just it's a bar screen, so it's just bars that are 1.5 inches apart. So most solids get through those. It stops things larger than golf balls, but nothing smaller. The lagoon liners have holes in them, so there is groundwater getting into the lagoons and lagoon water getting into the ground. The chlorine contact chamber is not big enough to provide appropriate disinfection for the wastewater. lagoon cell number 3, the big one. It actually contributes to effluent temperature, TSS, BOD violations because it's so big and your flow's so low. Things grow in there, and those things that are growing tend to contribute and make your effluent worse than if it didn't go in there in the first place. The outfall is exposed. It goes out of Lagoon 3. It goes overland down into the river. And that pipe is kind of held in place with some stakes, but it's susceptible to getting washed away when the river levels rise. It's been a source of maintenance, I think, for a while. It's been redone a couple times. So what we're going to do, what we have, and what we wrote about in the wastewater facilities plan amendment was a DPMC, which is a dual power multicellular lagoon. And so this is a lagoon that has 4 cells, which will be done in the first 2 cells that you have now. So we'll do a new headworks that'll include a fine screen that will get all of the solids out. We'll have the first cell is very highly aerated in 3 partially aerated cells. We'll do a new disinfection, either a new chlorine or UV disinfection, and then we'll put a new pipe down to the river. We're not going to put a new outfall in the river, but we'll replace the pipe that runs down the side of the hill and get it buried. So the large solids are removed by the physical separation. In the aerated cell, you have aerobic degradation of wastewater, settling, and anaerobic degradation in the next 3. Number 4 is the destruction of bacteria, and number 5 is your discharge.
Real quick question. Number 1, where do those solids go if they're removed?
Ultimately, they get compacted and put in a dumpster and get collected.
Okay. So those solids are not like
Those are
number 2 solids, but they're like
generally
wood.
papers and
Okay.
stuff like that.
Big
Yeah,
by rocks.
yeah.
Yeah.
It does get washed.
Not deep.
So the solids get washed, and that washing goes back into the liquid flow.
Okay.
So what you end up with is a very it's just a cake that gets dumped into a dumpster and collected every week by the garbage company.
Okay.
And that's very common. And
So the word solids isn't meaning
number 2.
number 2. Okay.
So that is collected weekly by our local garbage?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, anyone, it's pretty common that they'll collect. It generally has to meet certain requirements, which we'll design it to be able to do. But yeah, it goes to the landfill.
Hot Wheels cars.
Hot Wheels
Hot
cars.
Wheels cars.
Legos.
Which is what happens now. You have your screen there, and whatever gets screened out gets put in the garbage can and gets taken away. This process is going to be more automated. It'll be a mechanical screen that'll be mechanically cleaned, compressed, automatically dump it in a dumpster. So the only thing that really needs to happen is you might have to roll the dumpster out so the garbage company can pick it up.
That guy's gonna love us.
Well, he already gets to pick it up by hand.
That's what I'm saying. Right now, he's not happy.
So this is your current screen. This is your current headworks. So you have slide gates here that can make the water go to the fine screen, which is maybe 1-inch holes, or the coarse screen, which is 2-inch holes. Depending on flows, I think Nev will move the slide gates so the flows don't back up if there's a heavy flow. What we're looking at, there are a couple types of screen. This is would be a perforated plate screen that sits down there, and the screen just kind of rotates around and it gets cleaned off at the top. And they're really nice. They're very easy to use, very low maintenance, but a higher cost, higher capital cost. There's another type of screen here, which is a screw-style screen that has an integral compactor, so it takes all the screenings and compacts it. And at the end of this, it just dumps it down into a dumpster or garbage can. This is less expensive, but a little bit higher maintenance. So again, we're going to be weighing the life cycle cost to see which one is best. But both are going to be a drastic improvement over this. So the actual treatment process, again, it's a dual power multicellular. So we're going to have four cells. We'll have cell 1, cell 2, 3, and 4, or 4 and 3. But the first cell will be very highly aerated and get all the bugs happy and lots of air and lots of food, and they're eating and getting rid of all the waste. And then the next 3 cells get themselves down and drop those solids out. So what we're going to have to do is make this cell deeper in order to make the volume what we need. Each cell will have a curtain across it to make 4 cells out of the 2. It'll just be a PVC or some sort of plastic curtain that'll effectively keep the water from going back and forth. And then we're going to get rid of Lagoon 3. And that's where, like I said, we have a lot of stuff growing in there. It sits in there and heats up. And that's a lot of the problem with meeting permit now is temperature and TSS, which is from things growing in it. So we're getting rid of that for now.
Once cleaned, or whatever you're going to do to number 3, will you fill it in? Will it be like...
What we'll do, for starters, will be to clean it out, empty all the biosolids out of it, and then probably what we'll do is we'll just breach one of the walls, and so it won't hold water anymore. Ultimately, the plan, the wastewater facilities plan amendment that we did said after a couple of years of this, we'll learn what the effluent is going to be, how good this treats it, and if it needs to be polished, if it needs to be a little bit better, then we can make this into a wetland, where we'll run it through a wetland and get some additional treatment. But that won't be part of phase 1. So this first cell that I said it'll be highly aerated. This is what you have now. This is your lonely aerator floating out there. This is what something that's highly aerated looks like. And the more air you get in the water, the happier the bugs are that are doing your work for you and treating the wastewater. So,
Question.
yeah.
These new cell lagoon liners, what are they, like a swimming pool liner? Are they some kind of a big rubber sheet or something?
Basically a big rubber sheet. There's a couple different options that we're looking at. You can either, the Department of Ecology requires that you either have a dual membrane liner with leak detection. So you have two liners stacked together with some sensor in between that detects moisture that'll let you know if your top liner has failed, or you do a single liner with ground monitoring to see if you're getting any leakage out of it. So we're going to be looking into them, but yeah, it'll be basically a big plastic, some sort of plastic liner.
What's going to happen when they do leak?
Then you get to fix it.
Is the sludge fairy going to wave her magic wand or something? Are they going to have to pull it, or?
No. Well, one of the things that we're gonna do is make this system so that you can isolate one side or the other. You can say, hey, we've got a tear in this liner. We have to empty this. So we can put all the wastewater into these lagoons in the summer and treat it and empty this, and you can make those repairs. So it'll be done in a way that has some redundancy so you can do repairs. But the liners that we'll be putting in will be designed and guaranteed for at least a 20-year life without ripping. So if it happens in the first 20 years, you get on the phone to the liner company and say, your liner's ripped, you come fix it. So, the next process that is disinfection after treatment. So currently you have the wastewater coming from the second lagoon into the third lagoon, and it comes in and gets some chlorine added, and it goes through this little structure here and out into Lagoon 3. The problem with that is it's just doesn't have enough volume for your peak flows, for your high flows. So we're going to be looking at a couple different options: a new chlorine contact basin that's bigger and sized appropriately, or looking at a UV disinfection. Like the Headworks, UV is going to be more expensive up front, but it's going to be cheaper in the long run to operate because your only cost is electricity. You don't have chemical costs. So we're going to have to do some life cycle cost analysis to determine which one we'll go with. And then the outfall. This is your current outfall. Like I said, it runs across the ground. It's held in place with stakes. We're gonna go in there and put a new line underground, bury it, probably down to about here where it gets close to the river. We're not going to get in the river, but we'll get right down to it and bury it so that's not a maintenance issue anymore. So one of the things that we've been doing for starters was verifying all the data that was given to us in the first facilities plan. I think one of the assumptions that we made in doing the facilities plan amendment was that the design flows and loadings presented in the earlier reports were accurate. And so it was worthwhile to make that assumption because it saved us a lot of time on the facilities plan amendment, but now that we're in the design, we need to verify those numbers. And so we've gone through these are the values per the O&M manual for basically when the lagoon was originally constructed. This is what they were expecting. These are the numbers that the BHC facilities plan came up with, and these are the numbers that we're coming up with now. So for the most part, these are relatively equal. And we're getting some higher numbers for some of the max month. We're getting lower numbers for peak day. We're in the same ballpark. There's nothing that's going to change the cost that we've estimated based on our original facilities plan amendment based on these numbers. So our timeline. So we have a planning and data collection phase, a pre-design phase, and a final design phase. And this is all included in what we're calling our final design. But like I said, we wanted to do data collection, make sure the numbers that we're working with are accurate. So right now, we reviewed all the reports from the plant for the past 5 years. We've confirmed a lot of those numbers. We're still working to confirm some, but we had a survey done, a topographical survey of the whole plant, and we had a geotechnical evaluation done down there so that when we build a new building, it has the data they need to design that. So now our pre-design will determine the design flow rates, pollutant loading, which I showed you we've already done that. So we're up into this pre-design step now. Alternative analysis and preliminary cost estimates, that's when I talked to you about the different types of screens, the different types of disinfection. We'll look at those alternatives and figure out which one's going to be the cheapest option, and identify optimal sizes, processes. We're not quite there yet. So I'd say if this is a timeline, we're sitting somewhere right in here in the middle of pre-design. I anticipate by 6 weeks from now, we'll be starting to look at doing that final design and actually putting plans together and making some construction documents. Per our agreement and dates necessary to get the actual construction funding, we need to have cost estimates by October 15th, final designs by November 18th, and ecology approval by December 18th. And we're still looking at those dates and feeling like that's where we're at. So we're on schedule. That's it. Any questions? Okay.
That's it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. That is the end of special reports. Next item is city business number 1, which is a 15-minute executive session.
You have to read that whole thing out loud.
I read that whole thing out loud. Do we adjourn temporarily?
Yes.
With an official hammer, gavel hammer?
Yes, we do, and we call a time for the
Yes.
adjournment.
Okay, that's what I thought. So, item number 1, executive session for 15 minutes regarding RCW 42.30.110 to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency matters relating to agency enforcement actions, or to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency litigation or potential litigation to which the agency, the governing body, or a member acting in an official capacity is or is likely to become a party, when public knowledge regarding the discussion is likely to result in an adverse legal or financial consequence to the agency.
So then you tell me how long we're gonna adjourn for.
We will adjourn for 15 minutes for the phone call with our legal counsel. The time is 6:33 p.m. We will reconvene this city council meeting at 6:51 p.m. After the executive session. Item 2 on the city business. Council to consider moving forward with legal action on code enforcement activity. This is in regard to what we just heard.
I would like to make a comment. I will not be recusing myself tonight on this vote. Thank you.
Not be recused.
I will not be. Thank you.
Okay.
We're on number 2, I'm sorry. I wasn't-
Yes, we are on number 2. Discussion continues.
And what I've heard, I believe that the only option that is foreseeable for me is option number 3. And I make a motion that we pursue option number 3 for our executive session.
You probably should say what that option is.
Is the option to foreclose on the property and force sale on that property.
We have a motion by Mr. Daly to for the city to continue to move forward with foreclosure on the property. A second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Mr. Parsons. Discussion? Question? Does council like to hear a question?
Sure.
Yes? All right.
Does the council people have any idea how much you spent so far on this property? How much you spent city funds on this property? And how much you expect to spend to foreclose on this property? Anybody?
We have the estimate on the legal to do the foreclosure.
You want to share with the people paying it or no?
I don't know. That was in that executive session when they said it, so I don't
I
know.
don't think that that's private. The cost, I think, is probably okay.
It was between $1,500 to $3,000.
And do you know how much you've already spent?
On this one,
3,100.
3,100.
So
Yes, we
roughly
do.
$7,000.
Mm-hmm.
And has any of you guys actually done a return on investment, what you expect to actually get back out of this? A cost analysis, anything? You know, do you have an idea what you could, if you had to sell that thing?
We have an idea. There are some other factors that we can't know at the moment.
Okay. And, you know, what, do you have a plan on what you're gonna do with the property once you get it?
We're not getting
We're
it.
not getting it, we're just forcing the sale of it. The city is not gonna buy it.
So, then how do you get your money back? Or how do I get my money back?
When it sells in foreclosure,
Okay.
then we get paid back.
There's a lien on the
There's a lien on
property.
it. There is another lien on it, but we're in
Okay.
line
What position are you?
to,
Good job.
we gotta be in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
And number two. Okay.
Any other discussion, council? All right. All those in favor of moving forward with foreclosure, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Did you vote?
I'm not voting.
Well, you said that you were not recusing yourself.
I'm not recusing myself, but I'm choosing not to vote.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So no vote.
No vote.
Sorry. I was
That's okay.
All right. Item number 3 on city business.
Did you say a motion carries? No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you? Okay.
I'm gonna say it again.
Okay. that's right.
Say it
Say it
again.
again.
Motion carries.
Sorry. I was focused on.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah, very focused on me. Focused on me there.
your vote matters, Judy.
I know this.
With the no vote.
Number 3, council to consider resolution 10-2018 MRSC rosters. Every year we approve that the city will use the rosters for any type of small works that we need to hire through. This is just to reapprove our small works roster.
I move to approve resolution number 10-2018, authorizing the mayor to execute the small works consultant and vendor roster contract with MRSC. Rosters substantially in the form attached to the resolution.
All right, we have a motion to approve the rosters. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Daly. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any of those opposed say nay. Motion carries. All right, number 4, council to consider conditions of approval for May Day event. There were a few items that the city will be involved with, and we do need a motion to approve those. Any other discussion, comments?
We
Additional time?
kill time?
No?
Oh, I thought you said kill time.
No, I said. I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion. I move to approve the mayor to sign the 2018 May Day special event conditions of approval as written, and to authorize the use of the Lewis County Sheriff's Office to provide law enforcement services, and authorize the expenditure of $452.30 from the special event insurance line item budget.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Daly. Discussion?
When have we done this in the past?
I think we've always approved expenditures as motions.
Okay,
I don't think we've done
a May Day.
a bulk May Day one before. But
2016, we had conditions.
we did 2 years ago. We did.
And we have for other events that were not city run events.
We have a question from or comment from the audience.
Yes, oh, excuse me, I was I'm all
Yes,
for it.
question?
Yes.
Council's here.
I went back and looked at all the agendas and the minutes from 2016. I couldn't find where you people approved anything like this for May Day. Do you have a date or a time or something, a piece of paper that says that you did that?
I have the document in the office. I don't have the date on the top of my head.
Could you share with the class?
I'd be happy to afterwards. I don't have it with me at this moment, like I said.
So what does this mean? You guys aren't, the city isn't, this isn't actually a city event, right? I mean, really don't want, just personally, I don't want May Day to become a city event. So does that mean that you guys now, it's a city event?
No, it means it's an
No.
event happening in the city, and the city
No, I
has
just
to.
want a clarification.
Let me
that's
try
all.
to explain.
Please.
This event is requesting usage of city property, the streets, the equipment in the shop, the law enforcement that the city pays for, and any of the parade that goes along the other sections of the streets. And because of that, that needs to be approved by council to authorize a private entity to use city resources. That's what this document is saying, these are the resources they want to use. This is all the documentation, this is all the insurance they got to protect the city and to protect themselves and protect the event goers. This is what is needed, this is what they're asking for. Do you think that's okay? That's all this is. It's not making it a city event in any way. It's just authorizing council is saying yay or nay to using the city resources for this event.
So, am I reading this correctly that we already did the $400 donation, but it's another $452 that we're...
That's in our special event insurance that May Day and 4th of July automatically gets. The committee went out and found their own insurance.
Okay.
And presented it in their packet, but the city, through budget, approved event insurance.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So yes, that's correct in saying that there's two different line items there.
Discussion? Questions? There is a motion. Actually, there's a motion and a first and a second.
Motion and a second. Just
Any other discussion before we vote? All right, let's vote. All those in favor of approving the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any of
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right. Item number 5, council to discuss possible home occupation zoning changes. Who has the information on that?
I provided council at the last meeting with a packet of information to review and with instructions that the planners said who needed some direction from council as far as what is wanted, what wording and what regulations you want to include in that. So just following up by putting it on the agenda again and see if council has anything. Maybe council wants to have kind of a committee or somebody work on this. I don't know how you want to handle it. Otherwise, we would just have to rely on what our paid professionals' opinions are. But I think council seem to be involved in it a little bit and probably may want to come up with their own opinions about what they would like the regulations to say. So that's kind of where we're at as far as continuing on with this process. We're at the point where we need to know what regulations council wants to have and how you want it written up, basically. So.
Okay.
So, with a whole bunch of excuses, but not giving any of them, I dropped the ball. So, if we can table it until next council meeting, and then to me, if I wouldn't mind putting together what I think, and then we can talk one at a time to different people, and then see what everybody's thinking and bring it back next time. Does that make any sense at all? Be nice to me. It's my birthday.
Be what?
Be nice to me.
Oh, it's your birthday, happy birthday.
Yeah.
I guess the heartburn I have over this is, first off, I refuse to use Pierce County and Seattle or whatever this other one was. I think that 600 people, I think that's just region way out there. I don't think we should do that. I like the
I like
Toledo.
the Toledo one. Sounds really good to me so far.
And there's other things, the questions, frontage improvement, hours of operation, how many on each block. I really don't want to get into any of that kind of stuff because I want to open it up to whomever. And then we already have an ordinance that allows home-based businesses. So this should be simple.
It allows home-based businesses, and I'm asking this, but does it allow customers to come to those home-based businesses?
How would they get their products otherwise?
Well, I have a home-based business right now, but I don't have any customers come to me.
It's pretty restrictive, the way we have it right now. There's only specific types of businesses that are allowed. And I think the idea was to open it up to make it allow people to have kind of a retail front at their property.
And I think this can be changed.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but that's what we need to
Yes.
see.
Instead of reinventing
Yeah.
all of this stuff, I think we should just work on this one
And add the stuff from Toledo or wherever the other
Right,
little town.
right.
Yeah, it shouldn't be super difficult. Me myself, I haven't had any time to look at it at all in the last
I
week.
guess I think the
two.
word that is kind of confusing to me is zoning changes.
That's what it is. It's a zoning regulation, what's allowed in that residential zone. So it
But
is.
we allow home-based businesses in
Right.
any area of town with a variance. We
Not
didn't change
We'll-
their zoning.
Not necessarily.
We don't have, the biggest thing is, to me, what I believe is the biggest thing is having the retail, having a place for customers to come to and come into.
Sure, that was the whole thought pattern, I think, behind everything.
Yes, so we have to change
That doesn't
that.
allow it the way it's written, it doesn't allow that.
But could be changed.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's-
exactly
that's
what
what
I'm
we're saying.
asking for is
Yep.
how do
But-
you want it changed? How do
But
you want it changed?
I'm still on that zoning thing. To me, zoning means that you're gonna zone something.
It's already zoned
Business.
residential.
No, all you're gonna do is amend what is allowed to happen in that zone. And you're gonna expand it to allow additional retail type business. So that's all.
Yes.
And the list that we provided of items to look at that talked about times and how many on each one, those were just ideas from the planner that he was like, I don't know what you guys are interested in, but these are all the things I can think of.
And most of
And
that
if you don't
stuff,
like it, cross it off the list. I don't care about that. I don't care about that, you know.
and most of that stuff was covered in the
Just-
Toledo. They already had it
Right,
done.
it was very, very simple. It's
Just
just
like,
like,
and it can
Yeah.
be very simple. It does not have to be difficult. And like I explained at the last council meeting, the two examples I found were the only ones I could find online. I couldn't find Toledo's online. I couldn't find any other small communities.
Right.
That was all I could find, so I just gave you what I could find. So
I would like to volunteer to reach out to maybe Castle Rock, Winlock, Napa Vine, and see what theirs to add to Toledo's.
Okay.
So when you bring yours back, maybe we'll have a few more other things, and I'm okay
Maybe ours
with
will be better.
that. Right, right.
Do you have a question,
Oh,
Gary?
yes.
Why are you shocked?
I'm not, I'm just excited.
Could we possibly in the future have a workshop or something so the rest of us people could, you know, weigh in? Because, you know, we might actually have a skill that we might want to do at home or something. So,
Well, and I
Wait,
think
what?
that's a great idea,
in the future.
because this is going to affect
Everybody.
everybody,
Yeah.
neighbor, even if you're not going to have a storefront at your home, perhaps you're a neighbor and you don't want a storefront next to your home.
Exactly.
So this really should be opened up to everybody to discuss.
Right.
I mean,
And I
if
know
it's a
there
zoning
was-
change, there'll probably be a public hearings and all kinds of
There is
things.
a public hearing required, but
but-
that's
but
kind
it'd
of
be
after
great-
you already write
yeah,
it.
but it would
So
be
you
great
wanna
to
do
know-
something before that.
Before.
Yeah, definitely.
I thought this was the time for public, like,
No, workshop would be more appropriate, yeah.
Yeah, we can bring our ideas and stuff.
I get it.
Well, I'm good for a workshop. Can we schedule a
You want to schedule a
workshop?
workshop? Do you want
I
to get
would.
information together first, or?
Can we do the workshop the Wednesday before our next city council? You okay, Jason?
Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff going on this next couple of weeks. Wednesday before.
Wednesday
Or you
before.
could do it on, there's like an hour before the city council meeting, if it's easier to do it on the same night that you're already off that night. I don't know.
Can
That
we
might
do it
work.
the same as the
Yeah.
city council?
Yeah.
That makes it
That'd
more
work.
convenient for Jason and work.
Yep.
Could we do like an hour and a half before? I mean, I don't want to, because I think this is a big topic, and I think there'll be a lot of people want to come and have input and be able to have everybody in all of theirs. What's the next date?
The 10th, May 10th?
May 10th is the next council meeting.
Yes.
I would not be available that Wednesday, the 9th anyway. So.
Okay,
But yeah, the 10th would be.
Okay, so
So we're talking probably 4:30?
4:30, does that work for you? Jill, for opening the door?
Yeah.
Is it on the 10th?
Yeah, so May
4:30 to
10th,
10.
workshop.
Held where?
Here. I'll look for it. Now, we need to let the lady know who writes the newspaper. The date and time.
Sarah, there's a May 10th, 4:30 public hearing.
No,
For real.
workshop.
Workshop on the businesses,
For reals.
On
for reals.
home occupation zoning changes.
Okay. And I love you.
All right, excellent. So we have a workshop planned. We also have a couple council members going to get some additional information.
Yes.
Anything else along this topic tonight on item number 5?
It will be put on that city council meeting also, correct?
Oh, for the agenda?
Yeah, for the agenda.
Okay,
Perfect.
great. All right, ready to move on? Moving on.
Yes.
Item number 6, council to discuss 4th of July ideas.
The last council meeting, it was asked that we put it on this council meeting's agenda, so I did. So I don't have any new information.
Anyone?
I haven't heard anything. I know that Reggie is still not doing fireworks, and we don't have any plans for it, so.
I heard Reggie is not doing fireworks for the city, but he is going around asking for donations so that he can do his own show. So,
What about the city-sponsored carnival? Anybody?
about the carnival day, the vendors and everything on the 4th, I was hoping to head up that, but if we don't have the fireworks at the end of the night, I don't know.
Pretty hard to draw people here
For
for
not,
carnival on 4th of July with no fireworks.
yeah.
We have a comment in the audience? Yes? Yes.
If Reggie's gonna do his own show, you guys need to like get on board with that, okay? Trust me, I know that man. Also, let's sell some buttons. Let's get some girls from schools and things. We've got, you guys have that button machine. Let's do something like what they do in.
What are we selling buttons for? I missed that.
What,
What are we selling buttons for?
Why wouldn't you?
For what?
For
4th of
what
July?
though?
4th of July,
For 4th of July?
yes.
we're not, the money isn't the issue right now. It's having, well, the money is the issue
Money is the issue, it's
To-
ideas to do something.
to hire a professional fireworks show is $10,000 to $15,000. So to have somebody do it that way, that's what we're looking at, and that's a lot of money to kick down for a pyrotechnic guy right now. Cindy's.
In my opinion, that would be forever, not just right now.
Not just right now.
Yeah, I'm way out there.
Well, I think that, not forever, I think that 3 or 4 years down the road, if we build up for it, then we can start doing it again. And to me, a 4th of July show should be able to generate that type of revenue to pay for the stuff. You don't
You're
think
asking,
so?
no, I think you're asking a real lot for.
Well,
no,
I'm
it's
just
not.
gonna kind of sit over here and say, I'm gonna
Okay.
have to agree with Jay, that's a lot for a small community.
Yeah.
15,000, I mean, it's an,
This would go 3-4 years without.
Anyway.
But if we,
I
I mean,
I have no ideas on 4th of July. I'm willing to donate some money for
yeah, I have no thought on it either.
a public person to do it himself, yeah. But as far as the city goes, I don't have any knowledge of how we're gonna get around that one.
And I do know from experience, a day event does not work in Vader. We are all gone. We're gone doing other things, and we come back to Vader for the fireworks. So if you have the carnival, the whatever during the daytime, you're kind of preaching to the choir, guys. There's nobody here. And it was 97 degrees that one year, and nobody came out. And
yeah.
that was just a huge, and vendors were disappointed, and, 3 people were out or something. I mean, it was really disappointing. So a day event doesn't work.
Gosh, we've been doing May Day for a long time, and it's over in 3.5 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
And you try to
We're
get
trying to
people to
keep them here,
stay.
keep them here,
Yeah.
and stay, and the cake
Well,
walks over, and
I don't
carnival's
think
over.
that-
Exactly.
Hopefully, we'll keep them to stick around with the vendors, to help the vendors out with the live band. That's what
Right.
we're kind of hoping for. Kids can play, adults can shop.
Mhm.
Hopefully.
We had a comment earlier. Yes.
When did we become professional? I thought Class C fireworks, you didn't have to be a professional, right? Isn't that?
That's right.
So when did we switch from non-professional to professional? Isn't the
When-
non-professional less expensive?
When the city is sponsoring it,
We didn't give a city event.
It has to be professional?
I believe that we have to follow all of the rules.
It's still Class C fireworks though, right?
It's still
It is.
Class C fireworks,
It is.
but I don't know, I haven't been able to,
The issue that came up was that the person who was doing the Class C fireworks didn't want to do it anymore under the requirements that
can,
are needed to be met.
Does it have to be
Like
professional?
storage. No,
No, there are
but,
things
but the only other
Yeah,
option
you
at
gotta
this
store them
point,
properly,
we don't have anyone else who has volunteered to do the Class C fireworks. Somebody else could, I suppose, if they knew how to do it, could come to the city council and say, well, I'll do it if Reggie's not doing it, and then council could consider that.
so with
But-
it being a city-sponsored event, we can still have somebody do the fireworks that is not a licensed pyrotechnic.
We could still do it the same way that we've done it before. The only thing that changed this year was that requiring where the fireworks could be stored. And
Okay.
that was the straw that broke the camel's back, I guess, and changed Reggie's mind, because he likes having it stored on his property. But we can't do that in a residential zone. We can't allow that under the city's zoning regulations to allow fireworks to be stored in a residential zone, so we needed to move them to a different location. That's where we lost
We
Reggie.
couldn't variance it, or
Not something like that.
mm,
It's too risky, too big of a danger possibility. And the state patrol is involved in those regulations as far as what's allowed for fireworks and stuff. And so, it's just, yeah. Maybe if he built a building that was like 2 feet thick walls with asbestos or I don't know, whatever could withstand an explosion,
I don't
but
think
I don't
that's
know
it.
that that's possible.
I don't think that's it, because his building was
is that
built.
something like a storage unit could be used, or?
We had options for where to store it. We could store
can
it
store it at the
in
school.
different in different location for him, but he didn't want to do that. So,
It's too difficult for him to put it together.
yeah, because it takes time.
And he has
for
to
him
watch
put
it once he's put it together, you know, he's responsible for that.
You have a question from the audience? Yes?
Yes.
I have to ask, if this is Class C, when they're not doing the fireworks in town, everybody and their uncle has Class C fireworks. And I know they have tons of it because it goes on for 3 or 4 days up until half through the night. So these people are storing it at their homes. So why all of a sudden this guy has to have a, and I understand that they
Because
don't
he's-
require.
He's purchasing it as a retailer. And
He's
that
not a retailer, he doesn't
that
have a
is
retail
how-
license.
That's how he is getting them so cheap, is he is yes, he does have a retail license. And yes, that is exactly what he's doing.
Does he have a license?
Yes,
He's an actual business?
yes.
He buys
He
them
gets them
wholesale and
wholesale.
sells them to the city
He
for.
sells them to the city for $1. Yes, but he gets them at wholesale, which is how he gets so many for the small amount. And then he sells them to the city for $1. And that is his only sale that he does the whole year, but he is a retail operation. And that is part of the problem. He is storing, he
No,
does buy them from the guy in Winlock, but he buys them as a retailer. He is the retailer.
As a
He
wholesaler.
buys, he buys them wholesale and then sell for retail sales. So,
Does he buy them with city money?
yes,
Then you're the retailer.
no, he buys it with his own money. The city pays him that plus $1 every year.
we were trying to get around it.
We're
But we
doing
can't.
everything we
We can't,
can to
trust me.
work around it, but there are regulations that there are. I mean,
Like it's more trouble than it's worth anyway.
there was a suggestion made, in comment to what Donna was saying about everybody having their own fireworks anyways. There was a suggestion or an idea to look into having it like a fireworks safe zone, like still doing the event, the carnival things, and then when it got dark, having that school location blocked off so that people could bring their fireworks, and that would be a safe place to light your fireworks. It's away from other buildings, so you're not doing it on your street corners and stuff. I didn't know if that was a suggestion or an idea or something along those lines to try to encourage people to want to participate in the event. Have everybody bring
No, it seems like any 4th of July, there's a neighbor over here shooting them off, and this neighbor over here is trying to outdo that neighbor over there.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to have it all in one little spot, but
Yeah,
you know how it is. Can't go up on the school zone and consume and 4th of July.
yeah, that's true.
But that's a great idea. I don't see no reason why that we shouldn't at least have something like that available for people to use. Because if you didn't realize it, we're all kind of living around some trees. So
Yeah.
any fireworks safe zone, even if it's put out there and no one uses it, at least it's put out there. That's a good idea.
How would that work with Castle Rock's
I
insurance?
don't know, we haven't talked to them
Oh.
yet. We would
Oh.
still have to, I'm sure, do special insurance for the fireworks and that kind of a thing. But,
Because I have some pretty crazy neighbors.
yeah,
The craziest.
so I don't know. We'd have to check into it, but it was just a thought.
So did you have
Or-
any comment about this?
What's that?
Joe?
Me? I was just kind of surprised that the carnival wasn't still on the table. The carnival was pretty great. But, I mean, last year there was a lot of people down there. I mean, it was a really good
Well, the
time.
reason why the Little Crane did the carnival last year is we didn't have the May Day. But May Day's always been our thing. So
But I am also not volunteering to run a carnival. So, and if no one else is,
I'm
then
not doing it twice.
that's that then. Okay.
Well, then the other thing that we can do is take that $3,000 and put it towards our legal fees.
Oh, I'm going to vote against
Oh
that.
my gosh, Mike, you just didn't have to say that right there.
Nope, 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 nope,
You
nope,
like
nope. We need a chipper.
If we're gonna do anything with that money, it better be to better
Yeah, we need a chipper.
the town, because that's what, shooting that stuff off would have been
Yeah.
bringing the town together, so that's kind of what it should be used.
Okay, so let me rephrase. Use that $3,000 more productively.
There we go.
Does that sound better?
Yep.
Okay.
But let's figure out if someone's gonna step up to the plate and maybe be the person to shoot them up. I didn't know that was like, I didn't realize that was the situation as far as the straw that broke the camel's back. I just thought it was doable
Without a
It's not
pyrotechnic.
undoable.
Oh, okay.
It's not undoable. However, it is much
it is,
better and safer for the city legally to hire somebody. It's just 10 times more expensive.
sure.
Yeah.
It's like 10,000 or 9,000.
We have the state patrol who's in charge of the fireworks and the shooting off the fire, all the licensing and all of that, and their rules are conflicting on what they don't specify. They say if you have a public display where you're inviting the public to come and view a display that you're putting on, then you need a license for that display, and you have to have a licensed pyrotechnics operator. However, it also says in the same regulations, if you're only using Class C fireworks that are consumer grade fireworks, you don't have to get a permit. But what happens if you're doing both of those? And so in talking with the state patrol, they were like, well, technically, hemming and hawing and not. And they're saying, we would prefer you have somebody licensed, but we can't really require you to have somebody licensed. So, and that's where we run into insurance problems, and that's why it costs so much cost $2,000 just to pay for the insurance.
That
for
was my question.
Having
That
a
was my
private
question.
residence.
And
So if
did-
we only allow $3,000 and you spend $2,000 for that, Reggie can't even go out and buy 5 minutes for $1,000.
Right.
That's probably
Funds are-
another reason
or
why.
8 minutes.
8 minutes, but that's probably another reason.
Yeah.
That's just not.
We had a lot of fundraising efforts that went on to help pay for some of that, and for a while, Reggie was reassuring us that he could get plenty of donations to pay for the fireworks that we couldn't afford this year. But when he quit, then
so have you talked to the insurance company at all this year?
I haven't.
Because just putting it out there also, a lot of event insurance companies have gone out of business this last year. My business insurance went up 305%. So we might end up running into that issue also. So,
Yeah,
There's a
we-
reason why the big cities do these kind of big events.
Yeah,
yeah.
There's a lot of money.
it's expensive, yeah. And, you pay a lot more for having them professional, but they also pay their own insurance. We don't pay
Right.
their
Yeah.
insurance and those kind of things, so that's included in the cost.
Got another comment from the public?
Would you have to have insurance, the $2,000, if the public just went and let off their own?
No.
We're not sure. I haven't
Safety
checked
zone.
into it yet.
Oh.
if we, I'm
Yeah, we,
more than likely, if we title it a safety zone, then more than likely we would have to have insurance on it.
I would think.
And then we'll need to make it safe. We'll have to
Uh-huh.
have
Because then
some-
we're inviting people to
monitor it, put the
Yeah.
water
shoot
there.
off a cannon.
If
Yeah,
something goes
and
wrong,
I haven't looked into that, so I don't have any idea what
always-
that
there's
might
always
cost.
if it goes wrong, if something goes wrong, then
Yeah.
who's responsible?
The fire department.
One more, Donna.
So what if it's on private property where people just come and gather, like they used to over on D Street on the private property over there, and have fireworks over there for years?
No.
It seems like this whole thing has gotten out of hand since the city's got involved.
Well,
Just saying.
well, the person, whoever owns that property, when somebody trips and falls
Or gets burned.
or gets burned, or one of those fireworks burns down a house,
Post office.
I gotta tell you, the first year, we almost had some accidents with the fireworks because
We did have, yes.
it wasn't far enough away, so
I personally
Is there a
I would
reason?
like to see an ordinance that says there's no fireworks allowed. That's me, but, you know,
At least past midnight anyway, gee whiz.
Yeah,
Isn't
It
that?
does
That
say
is.
that.
it
Oh,
goes
does
on.
say that.
That's state. There's state laws
It might say
for
it,
that.
but it goes on until 6 a.m.
Well, maybe we ought to get with the sheriff's department and really enforce it.
They won't do
They
anything.
don't do anything.
It's right.
Yeah, I'm so used to
They did last year for me.
We're all used to this.
I called at one or two, and the sheriff drove by.
Well, they might have been here, but I've called several times over the years, and they say, oh, we don't mess with that. By the time we get there, they're gone and all this
It's
stuff.
nearly impossible for them to catch them doing it at the time.
Unless you run
Do we have any other discussion on the 4th of July topic? Or would we like to add it to next meeting's agenda again?
Just to keep it
I'm not
alive.
interested in adding it. I
No?
think it's,
Okay.
I personally think it sounds like it's in the toilet. I don't know.
Unless something new arises.
Yeah.
Something new arises, I mean,
Okay. All right. So it sounds like we're closing item number 6 and we're moving on to public comment.
Kathy, did you? I don't know why she. Julie Ketchland.
Julie Hedgeland, 1108 East Street, Vader, Washington. Saturday, 3 p.m. at GC's Truck Stop will be my husband's memorial. If anybody can come, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, Judy.
This Saturday?
Yes,
Okay.
in the banquet room,
You said 3 p.m.?
3 p.m. Thanks, Joe.
That's it.
That's it for public comment? All right. Our condolences, Judy. And happy birthday, Mike.
I'm 45. You know what that means?
means you're older than me.
Short, fat, and
Means-
slow. That's what 45 is.
I adjourn this meeting at 7:30 p.m.